Trump says 401ks, 401k withdrawals should come with a penalty-free advantage to buying a home. Okay, so Hassett floated allowing 401k withdrawals for down payments. Trump says these retirement accounts are thriving, so why not do it? He wants people to be able to do it, and then he kind of flipped on it a couple days later. He initially threw it out there. He likes to get the temperature of things. He'll throw them out there and then he'll flip on them. But walk me through what that would look like. I mean, you look at people's finances every day in order and what they need to do to buy a home. This idea of being able to withdraw funds from the 401k to fund home purchases and not take a penalty, what kind of impact would this have? What would it look like?
Sure. So, when I first heard this news, I'm a little biased because I'm a mortgage lender, but I was excited about the news at first because it certainly would make it easier for people to get a mortgage. Um, there's pros and cons to taking money out of your 401k. I mean, ideally, if you can buy a house without taking money out of your 401k, that's obviously much better if you can do both, buy a house and fund your 401k. But there are some folks out there that just are maybe struggling to save up the money for, like, your typical conventional loan is 3% down for a first time home buyer. So on a $500,000 house, that's $15,000. It's not easy for a lot of folks to save $15,000. And as we've talked about many times, for many reasons, if you can get into home ownership, that home is going to generate wealth for your family over the next 30 years by paying the mortgage down, by the value going up. For many, many folks, they say, buying a home was one of the greatest investments they ever made. And I think if the only way you can get a home is to tap into the 401k, that's probably the best thing that you can do with the money that you're taking out of 401k. I mean, there's a lot of
Not it.
worse things you could do with your money. I mean, obviously, saving for retirement would be ideal, but if it's the only way you can get a house, I'm on board with doing it. I do like the idea of not hitting people with a penalty, early withdrawal penalty. That seems like not a great idea. I mean, it's interesting too. Like, even Hassett and Trump kind of like disagreeing on it a little bit. Like Hassett, I was reading one article. They talked about how he was talking about in the news conference, and then I hadn't heard about him flip flop a little bit, which doesn't surprise me. But he was talking about how, well, 401ks are doing really great. They're up 17% this year. So, but if you recall last time we talked about leverage on the show, when we were talking about the benefits of real estate investing. So, I mean, if somebody has $10,000 in a 401k and it goes up 20% this year, which it would be a huge, like, if the stock market goes crazy and it goes up 20%, you get $2,000, 20%, $2,000. Now you got $12,000 in your 401k. So you got $2,000. Now, if you take that same $10,000 and you go buy a $200,000 condo, and that condo goes up 2%, only 2%. Well, what's 2% of 200,000? That's $4,000. So now you've got your, original $10,000 investment, plus now you've got a $4,000 rate of return. So,
Yeah, real
you're going
estate's
to
a
get that
better.
impact of owning real estate, that leverage. So,
Yeah, I mean, putting $10,000 into real estate versus putting $10,000 into a 401k. If that's the only 10,000 you got to work with, it's not even comparable. Real estate's going to give you the opportunity to, um, really, like you said, leverage that
yeah,
investment.
you should do
So
both. But if you can only do one,
yeah, you should do both. I
got to get
mean,
a house at some point.
the original idea was on this 401k a week ago, whenever this thing got floated out here, was like pie in the sky, like take the money out tax free, no penalty. Like, if any moment you get a window to take your money out of a 401k after gains tax free and penalty free, just rip it out and figure out what to do late. Like, if you ever get a moment in life where they're like, oh yeah, you can for the next 12 months take all the money out of your 401k and it'll be penalty free and it won't be taxed, then obviously take it out, because people don't realize 401ks, when you get to the end, you're taxed. You're paying taxes. You're just not paying that early exit penalty. 401ks are, I'll fall
Was
short of saying
was
a
that the
ripoff.
idea they were floating? They were saying you weren't gonna have to pay any income tax on it either?
I mean, that was the first
Yeah,
day was flying.
they're not doing it, but they were, like, toying out that would be amazing, yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
you basically would, completely avoid paying income tax on that money altogether if they allowed
But
that.
like if you paid no taxes on being able to take out your 401k, and the only way you could do that was buy real estate, yeah, I mean it'd be an absolute no brainer because 401ks, you're paying taxes down the road. People think 401ks are some brilliant investment, but uh, you know, they're not that. They're not all
Now,
it
I
cracked
wanna
up to
kinda
be.
tie this back to what you were saying in the previous segment when we were talking about how it's gonna get competitive in the spring as things thaw
Yeah.
out. The federal government does not have a lot of levers that they can pull to increase the number of homes that are available. That's really a local issue, but they know that home affordability is an important issue to voters, and they're trying to do something about it, or at least create the appearance that they're working hard on these issues. And to their credit, I think they are floating some pretty good ideas here, and some of them will probably come to fruition. So, I appreciate that. But all of these things that they're doing are making it easier to get a mortgage. And then when you make it easier to get a mortgage, that means more people are going to get approved or pre-approved and go out looking for houses. And that's generally not going to help home prices come down. And it's not going to make it easier to get a house in the state of Connecticut if there's more people able to go and look at houses this spring. So keep that in mind.
No, that's 100%, and that's where a lot of the short term plans lean into, especially in a midterm election year. How do we make it more affordable? Well, who's it not affordable for? It's not affordable for non-asset holders, people that who do not have assets yet. Those are the people trying to buy homes, first-time home buyers. So they come up with different plans and programs and scenarios where they're going to help first-time home buyers make buying a home more affordable. Well, that introduces more competition into the market. And in those markets where you introduce more competition, you're lowering inventory, particularly when you just look at our state, Connecticut. We are the 50th state as it relates to inventory available on the market versus pre-pandemic times. Well, we're number 50, meaning we have the least amount of inventory. We don't build in this state. I mean, like if you haven't left Connecticut in a long time, you're like, oh, I see apartments going up now. They never used to go up before. Well, go take a trip to some states that are economically thriving and look at the level of building and construction that is going on. We don't build. We make it very difficult for builders. It's highly regulated. The permitting process is a complete disaster. We have all these small little towns making decisions. They're all operating on NIMBY, not in my backyard. You'll get a bunch of Connecticut liberals to virtue signal that they want affordable housing, but they do not want it in their town. Let's be clear on that. I mean, I can't say that Connecticut is run by one party. That party will virtue signal all day what they want, and none of them will make it easy for it to happen in their backyard because it lowers the price of their house. Let's be very clear on that. And actually, Trump said this at Davos, where he's like, I don't want people's houses to go down. That's the other thing about, adding so much inventory. And, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but that's the truth. If you're going to open up building and eliminate the scarcity factor, increasing inventory supply, you're lowering your own house. And that's why when the rubber meets the road, particularly here in Connecticut, when the one party in all these towns, and certainly from a state level, has to make decisions and is pushed to the brink, well, they don't want their home value to go down. And for whatever reason, it remains very difficult to build and invest in Connecticut.